All right, so we have some news regarding some Extreme Z areas, and there's a very important date that they're mentioning here. It says some Extreme Z areas will be closed from 1/4, and this is on the JP side of Dokkan. This is not an announcement on the global side of Dokkan. I would like to specify that. It says that basically they're going to be combined or integrated as a stage of Extreme Z area, the movie. So a movie's edition of Extreme Z area, and what that could mean is we could possibly be seeing a movie themed celebration for New Year's. And there are a lot of possibilities that we need to go through in this video. First of all, as a visual, this is one of the Extreme Z areas that will be integrated into the movies edition Extreme Z area. So fight battle for the strongest in the universe. So the free-to-play physical Goku and Gohan, the STR metal cooler and the tech first form cooler. And then this one also with Android 13 and the physical androids 14 and 15. And then this one as well with the Kaioken Goku and Lord Slug units. So those are the three Extreme Z areas they are talking about, collecting them and integrating them into one Extreme Z area that will be called the movie edition. And then moving on to some possibilities that we could probably see. So this Gohan right here came out in December of 2020, and it is December of 2023, so 3 years later. And I think it is a real possibility if they decide to go in the direction of having the New Year's celebration be a movie themed celebration. We could possibly see multiple movies during that celebration, maybe one movie for one part, another movie for another part, or something like that. Or maybe it's one movie altogether for the multiple parts that it will have. But if it's a BoJack themed movie celebration, we could possibly see this guy get an easy A. I think that's a real possibility, seeing as he is 3 years old, and I think he could definitely come out as a really, really good easy A, or he could come out as a pretty mediocre easy A, since he's basically like the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan youth from the Cell Saga. So who knows? I think he could be quite a bit better because he's not only raising defense on his super attack, he's raising attack and defense. So I mean, there's some pretty good possibilities with that. But yeah, he could possibly get an easy A. This guy's really, really old. Came out in 2019. So he Dokkan Awakens from an SR Super Saiyan Gohan Youth into a SSR/UR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So this guy could definitely get a Dokkan Awakening as well as an easy A during the New Year's celebration if it is BoJack movie themed. Or maybe it's not BoJack movie themed and he's part of the, movie theme itself. They could do it anyway. So, but yeah, he's definitely a possibility. I think one of the units that could definitely get touched up on. And then we also have the long awaited I don't know how this guy has not gotten an easy A yet. Well, I do know because they really haven't touched movies that much. So well, they just released a base Goku, an Int LR base Goku, at least on global. He was out for a little bit longer on JP before he was released on global, but this guy has not gotten an easy A yet, and it's criminal that he's not been touched up on with an easy A. He came out in 2017 on JP, 2018 on global, so he's been out for 6 years total, 5.5 on global. It is absolutely insane that this guy has not been thought about or anything like that. Maybe they did think about him. Maybe they have it all planned. And this little message right here could mean absolutely nothing. Just to throw that out there, it could mean absolutely nothing. Dokkan could just be throwing us off, or maybe they're just doing it just because it makes sense for all those Extreme Z areas to be combined into one movie edition Extreme Z area. But the date that they're doing it, or the date that they're closing it, and actually combining these Extreme Z areas around that date, around New Year's, I honestly don't think that's a coincidence. So, but yeah, this guy definitely needs an easy A if it is movie themed. If it's not movie themed, I still think he needs an easy A. What do you guys think? I'm pretty sure all of you are waiting on this guy's EZA. I just rainbowed him recently, actually, this past year. So, I would definitely love an EZA for this guy. And he has a lot of potential. He has defense plus 120% at the start of turn. And then his, his passive skill, when he does an ultra super attack or an 18 key super, he has a huge attack buff that he gets from that. So, but his defense goes down. I think they could work with that in an EZA for sure. So, and then moving on, I'm throwing this out there too, because shoot, they're part of movie heroes or movie themed celebrations. This guy could get an EZA. They could even actually, if they decide to EZA this Goku and Arale Norimaki, maybe they could even bring back the Arale Norimaki event for those who missed it. There was a crossover with Arale Norimaki, and there were 2 Arale Norimaki units that you could grind up, free-to-play units that are essentially not coming back necessarily because it was a one-time crossover event. So as far as I know, as far as my knowledge tells me and all that stuff, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, these guys could definitely get an EZA. They're creeping up on 5 years old. They're 4 years old. They're 4.5, so they are creeping up on 5. I wouldn't say it's a huge possibility for these guys to get an EZA, other than the fact that they are that old, because I don't see a New Year's movie celebration centered around Dragon Ball. But they could easily integrate them into getting an EZA just in general if it is a movie-themed celebration. And then moving on to this Videl, also this Goten, and this Trunks as well. This Goten and Trunks just recently got their Dokkan Awakenings, December of 2022, so about a year ago for JP, and then about half a year ago, or 8 months ago for Global. And that's fairly recent. These are units from the Legendary Super Saiyan event, the Dragon Ball Story, which is this Broly right here. So Z Broly. I could easily see these guys getting an EZA and being pretty decent. They have a kit it's decent, and I think could be built well upon with an EZA. The Videl, on the other hand, she's a little bit bare bones, but she has this great chance of all allies attack and defense plus 30%, so she could potentially, after EZA, become a really, really good support unit for movie heroes, because they do tend to keep the theme of the unit when they do EZA them. I think building on this for support with movie heroes is a very real possibility, and frankly, I think that's the direction that they should go if they do decide to do a movie themed celebration around the Broly movie. Those are some possibilities as well. And then we also have, referencing back to the SSJ3 Goku right here from the Wrath of Dragon movie, which I think is very, 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 very underrepresented in this game. We could definitely see a Wrath of the Dragon movie with him getting an EZA and also getting a new Tapion, man. Look, this is all the Tapions in the game, and one of them's Tapion and Minosha. So a new Tapion, a new transforming Tapion, a standalone Harudagarn unit would be fantastic. Tapion definitely needs more representation in this game, and I think they could easily make the New Year celebration movie themed, centered around the Wrath of the Dragon. Oh, and this guy right here. So this Goten, he's actually from the same Broly movie as this Goten and Trunks as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the comments below if I need to be corrected on that. But I think he is movie heroes, right? Yeah. He's definitely movie heroes. And he has this. Reduces damage received by 40%. Now, that doesn't really amount to much since he is an older unit. He came out in 2020, and I have actually tried to use that damage reduction with this unit and have used this unit in events. And he doesn't necessarily perform well just because he is an older unit. He doesn't really have the amount of defense that he needs to work with the current meta of defensive units. Maybe they could give him guard, a little bit more damage reduction, a high chance to guard. I don't know, something to go along with this damage reduction and the theme of this unit. On top of that, you know, he gets an additional damage reduction of 30% when performing a super attack if there's an ally whose name includes Trunks Kid or Krillin. Definitely a great foundation to build upon with an EZA. One of the last things that we need to talk about is possibly another celebration centered around DBS Broly. Yes, it is time. It is time to get a standalone Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and possibly, I think a fan favorite as far as wishes go, an LR standalone full power Broly from Dragon Ball Super. I think that would be fantastic. Possibly even like shoot a Dokkan Fest TUR standalone. No, you know what? Let's both. Let's do Carnival LR standalone Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta and a Carnival LR standalone Super Saiyan Broly from Dragon Ball Super. DBS Super Saiyan Broly. Yes, I think it's time. If they're going to make it themed around Dragon Ball Super Broly, the movie, we need to see that happen. We need to see that happen. Thumbs up in the comments below if you agree. If you agree, we need to see that happen. And I think this type of celebration centered around Gogeta and Broly from Dragon Ball Super would probably create the most hype from everything that we've discussed so far. I really think they need to go back to Dragon Ball Super Broly. We've only done one celebration right after the movie came out. One celebration that has been centered around Dragon Ball Super Broly. We need to come back to that for sure. Get some new animations in. Have the dimension-shattering clash of some sort in those cards somehow. And yes, that needs to happen. That needs to happen. And then moving on to the movie villains that we could see getting some buffs and some EZAs. This free-to-play Super Saiyan Broly right here could definitely get an EZA. He's an attack stacker, so maybe it's adding some defense to his super attack. That might be good. These guys came out in 2020. I think it's a slight possibility that these guys could get an EZA. They have an interesting kit. They really do, because they don't have a flat percentage for attack and defense at the start of turn. All of it's based on getting key spheres, and the rest of their passive is based on getting types of key spheres. I don't know how they would EZA this unit, but it would be interesting to see where they could go with this, with an EZA. With his kit, the way it is, having to get certain types of orbs for certain effects. This guy's a damage dealer. He can be a support. He can be a defensive unit with evade. It's kind of all over the place. I think it was an interesting design. Not the best design in my opinion, but an interesting design that could work if there's some solidity in his kit after an EZA. If he has some solid stats in his passive skill, solid percentage stats to his attack and defense, and maybe something else, you know, that stays constant, this kit could work very, very well after an EZA. This would be probably the most interesting EZA to see after they actually EZA him. I'd like to see where they go with it. This guy, once again, like the SSJ3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Wrath of Dragon, it is a criminal that this guy does not have an EZA yet. He still can put up some numbers depending on his team and, you know, with a 200% leader, even though he came out 4.5 years ago. This guy is definitely due for an EZA, and he could come out of that EZA as one of the top units for attack stats. I know that's not the current meta right now. I know a lot of defense is needed in all the new events and stuff like that, but I don't believe we always need one unit right after the other that just needs defense. It's kind of boring. It's really, really boring. So it would be nice if he got an EZA and maintained the spirit of his kit and just was able to deal a huge amount of attack stats and put up some really, really, really good numbers. I would love to see the spirit of that being carried over with the DZA, which they usually do that, but in the current situation with the current meta, they may want to go a different direction, and I hope they don't necessarily. It's interesting to see. I always love speculating on this type of stuff and seeing the possibilities that could happen with these units. It's kind of fun. And then another unit that is a very, very strong candidate. Well, not too strong. He did come out three years ago on JP, but on global he released in 2021. So I think as far as the units that could get an easy A, he's probably the least likely, just because of the way they move with these easy A's. Let's make this older unit more current, and then let's make the next oldest unit more current. That's usually how they're doing it. So I would say he's a slight candidate to get an easy A. He definitely needs it, no doubt. He definitely needs it. He's fallen off for sure, but he does have the support for space traveling warriors, so he could be very, very good with that. Maybe even after easy A, taking this condition away and giving the support for attack and defense plus 40% and T plus 3. Taking that condition away, I think, would be one of the key things that they could do for him after an easy A. This guy came out in 2019 on JP, and I think it's a pretty strong candidate. But would they go back to the Android 13 movie? Most likely not. They would probably save that for a less hype time, a more lull time during Dokkan. They could definitely easy A him and do an Android 13 movie celebration again. And I think that would be appropriate, because the Android 13 movie just doesn't live up to the hype that the BoJack movie lives up to, the Resurrection Broly lives up to, also, DBS, Super Broly, and Gogeta. Out of all the movie themes that we've been discussing, this is probably the least hype one, and I don't think they would put this in the slot for New Year's, because that would kind of kill the energy. Not for some people. Maybe some people love this movie and live by it, and that's fine. We're allowed to have opinions. We're allowed to like different things. We're allowed to do that. But I think in the general community, and you can let me know if I'm incorrect about this, out of the movie celebrations or movie themed celebrations that we have discussed so far, Android 13 is the least hyped one overall for the whole community as a whole. But if they do decide to go with that, easy A this guy for sure. I mean, he does have a guaranteed hit. That's a pretty good effect. And then, he has the support for the androids. So, I mean, there's some stuff to build on there for sure. One of my favorite free-to-play units ever in this game. Very simple kid. He reduces damage. Now, he belongs to DBS Super Broly movie, because that's where he's from. He reduces damage received by 30%. For a free-to-play character, that's really, really good. He has a defense boost with each attack received. That can definitely be buffed with an easy A. And he's giving movie boss category allies key plus 2 and attack and defense plus 30%. A great foundation, and I've done a video on him before, doing the free-to-play unit discussions, which I might go back to. I might go back to those. But he could definitely be a very good free-to-play unit with an easy A, and he deserves one. He's 5 years old. He's 5 years old, man. He deserves it. And I would absolutely love it. Now, he does not have the link skill Big Bad Bosses, which I think it's because he wasn't the Big Bad Boss in the Dragon Ball Super Broly, obviously, because it's going to be Broly. But a great kit to build on with an easy A, and he's all about support. He really is all about support and all about defense. So I think, that's very easy to keep the spirit of if they were to easy A him. I would love to see this guy get an easy A if the movie theme celebration for New Year's is Dragon Ball Super Broly. Let me know all your thoughts about what I said down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next video.